It's easy to see on this map of Europe that France is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the west, the English Channel to the north, Spain and the Mediterranean Sea to the south, and Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, and Italy to the east. The southern part of France, that is on the Mediterranean, is called the Cote dAzur, meaning coast of blue, for the color of the sky and sea. In English, we call the Côte d'Azur the French Riviera, one of the richest and most glamorous coastal regions in the world. On the south side of the Mediterranean, of course, is the coast of Africa, of which you can see just a little bit on the map in green, blue, and yellow. Here you see a topographic map of France. A topographic map shows the topography, or elevation of the land, so that you can see where the land is flat, plains, and where it rises, hills and mountains. As you look at this map, west, of course, is to your left and east is to your right. There are two major mountain chains in the south of France with a long valley in between, carved by the Rhone River. The Rhone starts in the Alps in Switzerland, runs west toward Lyon, and then south to near the city of Marseille, where it empties into the Mediterranean Sea. To the west of the Rhone River Valley lies a range of mountains called the Massif Central. These mountains were formed 10,000 years ago by over 450 volcanoes, which of course now are extinct. Aren't you glad you weren't living there then? The highest elevation is a little over 6,000 feet, or 1,800 meters. To the east you can see the much higher European Alps, which curve around in a C shape and extend all the way through Switzerland, Italy, and Austria. The highest peak is Mont Blanc in France, reaching 4,800 meters, or nearly 16,000 feet. A gigantic mountain which of course is snow-capped all year round. Some of you visiting the south will fly into Nice. Nice is a beautiful coastal city in the southeast of France that has all the advantages of a semi-tropical coastal climate with the mountain climate of the Alps very nearby. You can ski in the mountains in the morning and sun on the beach in the afternoon. Not bad. In the southwest corner of the map to the left, note that there is another mountain chain called the Pyrenees that separate France and Spain. La Côte d'Azur refers to the French Mediterranean coast running from the city of Toulon in the west to Monte Carlo in the east. It is home to some of the most famous beach resorts in the world, including Cannes, home of the famous Cannes Film Festival, and Saint-Tropez, perhaps the world's most chic name in resort towns. For 200 years, the glittering Côte d'Azur has been the summer playground of British and European royalty, as well, of course, as celebrities and the very wealthy. Monte Carlo, just west of Nice between France and Italy, is in the tiny but glamorous independent Principality of Monaco, and interestingly, if you're into trivia, is home to more professional tennis players per square mile than any city in the world. The late famous American actress Grace Kelly was married to the Prince of Monaco. One of the most famous clay court tennis tournaments in Europe, the Monte Carlo Open, is held in Monaco and was won by Rafael Nadal 8 consecutive times between 2005 and 2012. Nice, the fifth largest city in France, lies at the very foot of the European Alps and has one of the longest beaches on the Côte d'Azur. Nice was a favorite of the English upper classes in the second half of the 18th century, so the famous street that runs along the beach is called, appropriately enough, the Promenade des Anglais. Languedoc-Roussillon is the name of a region in the south of France between the Midi-Pyrénées and Provence regions. Provence is to the east of Languedoc. Most of the region was at one time ruled by Rome, and there are many ancient Roman structures still standing in Languedoc and Provence, including aqueducts used to carry water to cities. The famous three-tiered Pont du Gard is part of a 50-kilometer, that's 30 miles, aqueduct constructed by Roman engineers to carry water from Uzès to Nîmes, considered an engineering marvel for its time in 19 BC. It's just incredible that it has stood intact for over 2,000 years. Most of the water channels run underground, but this aqueduct section crosses the river Gard and is 160 feet tall and over 900 feet long, with 52 precision-built arches. Most remarkable of all, no mortar was used in the construction of the bridge. Languedoc is also a famous wine-producing region that supplies over one-third of French wines. Next, we're going to talk about a handful of the many gorgeous medieval cities in the south of France that you might want to consider visiting during your trip. To get our bearings, let's make note of the location of the following cities on the map, starting on the left with Montpellier, then Nîmes, Uzès, Avignon, Aix-en-Provence, the large city of Marseille, Grimaud and Saint-Tropez out on the Cape, Cannes, and finally Nice, where many of you are likely to arrive. The city of Nîmes has long been regarded as one of France's most beautiful cities. Its pedestrian centre-ville is chic and spotless. It was a Roman capital during the time of Caesar Augustus and remains the most Roman of all French cities, containing many Roman ruins, including the largest Roman Colosseum outside of Rome itself. Remarkably, bullfights and major concerts are still held in the Colosseum. Actually, in 2009, Metallica, for those of you who are heavy metal fans, recorded a live DVD in the Colosseum called Français pour une nuit. The Pont de Gard aqueduct, which we saw previously, provided Nîmes with water. The city is known for its parks and especially for its canals, which were used primarily for purposes of public beauty, but also to provide water for industry. Nîmes was famous for its textile industry and was the birthplace of the fabric denim, which you all wear daily. Denim is short for de Nîmes, or of Nîmes. The entire city was walled during the Roman occupation, and two of the magnificent portals or gates to the city still stand today. The Romans also built a magnificent temple in Nîmes, a 2,000-year-old structure which is one of the best preserved Roman temples in the world. Today, Nîmes hosts a population of about 150,000. After a last delectable lunch in one of Nîmes' many outdoor cafes, we head about 45 minutes northeast toward the Rhone River to Avignon, an ancient city of 90,000 on the left bank of the Rhone. Avignon's enormous and charming pedestrian centre-ville, with narrow winding streets, is still completely walled in by ancient ramparts, designed to protect the city from marauding invaders. In the 14th century, Avignon was the seat of the Roman popes, rather than Rome itself, and remained the center of Catholicism for 100 years. Its historic center contains the Palais des Papes, Palace of the Popes, and Le Cathédrale d'Avignon. For several weeks each summer, the city hosts the famous Festival d'Avignon, the largest arts festival in France, complete, as you can see in this shot, with French lovers and photobombers. To the north of Nîmes and Avignon lies Uzès, a gorgeous little medieval city that's one of the best-kept secrets in the south of France. Its centre-ville has narrow, winding cobblestone streets that beckon around every corner. There is a large open market area with a central fountain, and the city has dozens of wonderful restaurants and high-end shops. The entire city is canopied by ancient plane trees, creating an intimacy that is unobtainable by a contemporary city. Le Duché, a castle which is home to the Duke and Duchess of Uzès, has been occupied by the same family for over 1,000 years, and is an anchor of the city, of course. Uzès is definitely worth the trip. Terrific ice cream, too. To the east of Languedoc lies the neighboring region of Provence, with its famous former capital, Aix-en-Provence, usually referred to as just Aix. Often called the City of 1,000 Fountains, Aix is a beautiful old university town which vies with Montpellier for the title of the intellectual capital of the south of France. Thousands of students, as well as hundreds of bars and cafes, and a vibrant music scene bring the city to life, making it one of the most popular tourist destinations in the south. Outdoor markets are in abundance, enhancing the quality of life in Aix, which, along with the vibrancy, culture, and intellectual life of the city, has attracted thousands of expatriates to settle in Provence, primarily Americans and Brits. No doubt the famous humorous memoir by British author Peter Mayle, A Year in Provence, has played a large role in attracting English-speaking expatriates to the region. Provence has a warm, dry climate with 300 days of brilliant sunshine a year. Huge fields of lavender grace the countryside everywhere. The combination of warmth, light, and color has attracted artists to Provence for hundreds of years. The famous French impressionist Paul Cézanne was born in Aix, and many of his paintings, as well as his studio, are on display in the city. Grimaud is a superb example of the many lovely hilltop medieval villages in the south of France. At the top of the village, on the crest of the hill, are the ruins of a medieval castle and fortress. As you can see, most of this gorgeous, well-maintained, and expensive village is pedestrian, with motor traffic on relatively few streets. The village overlooks the Gulf of Saint-Tropez, and from many points in the village you can see the Gulf with the lights of Saint-Tropez in the distance on the Cape. A beautiful sight. The port of Saint-Tropez itself is a glittering, sophisticated seaport village filled with the rich, the famous, and the wannabe rich and famous, where you can occasionally spot our American family. Montpellier, the cultural and intellectual capital of the south of France, is an elegant, stylish, and vibrant city where over a third of the population are students. If you're searching for culture, the Musée Fabre, Museum of Fine Arts, festivals of theater, music, and dance, an orchestra, a ballet company, and 2 opera houses offer more culture than you could possibly withstand. Montpellier has the oldest continuously functioning faculté of medicine in the world, founded in 1220. The Faculté of Law is very nearly as old. The intellectual rigor provided by 6 universities and colleges has been a magnet for high-tech industry that has migrated to Montpellier for its brains, creating a marvelous combination of the old and the thoroughly modern. Much of Montpellier looks more like Paris than the laid-back south of France, with typical Haussmann-style architecture. It's been the fastest-growing city in France for more than a decade. Dozens of American universities offer a semester abroad in Montpellier to study French. Well, that's it for our little tour of the south of France. You will love it there, and you'll love it even more if you keep moving along with your French studies. Thanks for choosing Instant French and allowing Julie and me to be part of your life. And bon voyage to you on your exciting trip to France.